Breaking today, the final traces of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from the British royal family are being erased, and this is far more significant than just the destruction of their former home.
Our clear message is being sent, and Charles is bringing in the bulldozers to bury any evidence that Harry was ever there. Why? Because the king is done. He's out. He wants to move on, and it's a very encouraging development.
For 3 years, it sat empty, a multi-million-pound ghost house on the Windsor estate. But now, King Charles has given the order. The bulldozers aren't coming to renovate Frogmore Cottage, they are coming to delete it.
The reason Harry is given Buckingham Palace is that Buckingham Palace is a location that is fully under control of the monarchy. And what I mean by that is that Harry and Meghan can't just invite anybody in. They can't just run things themselves. They are held under the umbrella of the authority of the monarchy. So if they have a friend come over, the friend has to go through security. The friend has to check in. The friend has to give their name. Hopefully they're actually doing that now, because during Andrew's time, they weren't as good about doing that. But every single person walking into that building should have their name down somewhere.
This is the final, brutal stroke of monarchy math. It is one thing to take back the keys. It is something entirely different to spend taxpayer money to carve a luxury home back into bedsits, just to ensure the Sussexes never step foot in it again.
A furious King Charles has decided to completely remove all traces of Harry and his time at Frogmore Cottage, with seismic building work which is going to run into millions, and it will make Harry a sad and distant memory. Now, Frogmore Cottage was once the Duke's luxurious home located on the vast Windsor estate. Harry lived there during happier times when he was in the bosom of the royal family. Now he's being deleted, airbrushed away, cut out of history, all at the command of his father, King Charles.
According to Tom Bower, the most feared investigative biographer in Britain, this isn't just spring cleaning. It is Prince William and King Charles quietly executing the most ruthless PR strategy in royal history: total erasure.
With this home still vacant, and with this home basically left as Harry and Meghan left it, there is, of course, always the thought, the fantasy of, oh, we can just come back. But the monarchy is sending Harry and Meghan a very clear sign here. There is no coming back. You can't just waltz back in and waltz back into this house and waltz back into all of our lives as if nothing happened. This house is going to be renovated. It's going to be changed. It's going to be given to somebody else. It's not going to be for you. It's going to be for somebody else.
Harry and Meghan always treated Frogmore like their royal safety net. No matter how bad things got in California, they always assumed that little house in Windsor would be waiting for them.
You know, they are quite literally erasing, expunging every trace of the Duke and Duchess of Duplicity from the royal residences, from the royal estate.
But you don't own a grace and favour home. You borrow it. When you stop serving the institution takes the keys back. And when you write a book like Spare, the institution takes the plaster off the walls.
It is very interesting, which I was surprised by, and comes up early in the Betrayal book, is when a very, very famous member of the British establishment, really a household name, is asked by the Queen to explain to Meghan before the wedding what life will be like. And that person goes to visit her every 3 or 4 weeks in Kensington Palace. And after the third and fourth visit, tells the Queen that Meghan has absolutely no intention of staying in Britain after the wedding, and there's a lot of trouble ahead. Of course, it was too late to do anything, but they saw it long before that glorious day in June. And I'm afraid that that is her problem. She is very calculating and very ruthless and very self-promoting, but she's taken on more in the end than she can chew.
The palace knew exactly what Meghan was doing long before the wedding. Tom Bower's new book, Betrayal, reveals that the Queen was warned Meghan had zero intention of staying in Britain. She wanted the global platform, not the public service.
Biggest problem is still the inclusion of Harry and Meghan as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex on the website. And this would be so easy to remove because they did it for Andrew. And it's time to do it for Harry and Meghan as well.
And now the financial reality is catching up with them. Because the £2.4 million spent renovating Frogmore is pocket change compared to what they are bleeding in California.
Harry and Meghan spent heavily on turning the property into their family base, and the UK taxpayer had to foot the bill. $3.2 million. This is money that the British people don't have. Imagine the people around me in this great city of London. Here I am in London Bridge. They're working so hard, some of them on the minimum wage, and their taxes were going towards Harry and Meghan's vanity project, improving a perfectly good luxury house because Meghan was in competition with Catherine.
When they marched out of the palace, they promised to build a billion-dollar empire. But the monarchy math is entirely unforgiving. Netflix downgraded their massive deal into a basic first-look arrangement. Spotify dumped them completely.
So, they are keep on seeking opportunities to appear in public, keep on seeking opportunities to promote themselves as great humanists, and keep on making mistakes because they don't realize how complicated the world is and how they're totally ill-equipped to cope with those complications.
A senior Spotify executive literally called them grifters on his way out the door. You simply cannot survive in Hollywood when your only bankable skill is complaining about a family that is actively erasing you from their website.
Rafe, guess what she thinks is going to turn around the finances now? She's actually launching matchsticks. That's the latest. Look at this. Oh, God. Matchsticks. Well, I guess it's burning down Frogmore Cottage, at least, that the royal family are intending to do.
They have gone from negotiating $100 million deals with the biggest streaming platforms on Earth to desperately trying to sell strawberry jam and matchsticks on Instagram.
These two, they don't do their due diligence. They want to show up, they want their picture taken, and they want to get out of Dodge, and they want to sit back and read the praise. I mean, it was like copy and paste for some of the tacky outlets that worship at the ground of Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle's powerful speech was like, I found 5 different websites that literally it had almost the same headline. Meghan Markle gives powerful speech. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the research. And I think that's why they have fallen out with Spotify and in some cases Netflix.
The novelty has completely worn off. The Obamas successfully made the leap from politics to production. The Sussexes couldn't even make it past season 1 of a podcast without running out of material.
It's exploitation of the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked for Meghan when she was in the so-called royal tour, which I described in Betrayal in Nigeria and then in Colombia. And she did, of course, the same when she visited Jordan with the World Health Organization. But Bondi Beach was a terrible, terrible mistake, as was her trip to Australia. She fell flat on her face. And she tries to empathize. She did it, of course, in Texas when the school shooting happened. She flew there to lay some flowers and then ignored her father, who at the same time had a near-death stroke. I mean, everything is for commercial and for personal publicity. I think the Bondi Beach was gross. It was insensitive, but it showed the real Meghan. Anything to earn a dime, anything to promote herself at anyone's expense.
So they pivoted to fake royal tour in Nigeria and Colombia to pretend they still have international diplomatic weight. But nobody is buying it. Not the public, and certainly not Prince William.
And so you have people who are able to watch you and keep an eye on you. And that's why Harry and Meghan, I think, liked the idea of Frogmore Cottage, because they were on a crown estate, but they weren't under the umbrella and the watchful eye of the monarchy. And the monarchy can't let them do that. And so they stripped them of it because they proved they can't be trusted. They used pictures and videos and images from that home in their Netflix documentary. And that, of course, is violating security for sort of everyone. That's the thing. Harry and Meghan violate security for everyone in order to promote themselves.
William has made it categorically clear. There is no part-time royalty. You don't get to bash the institution on opera and then demand your taxpayer-funded security and luxury estate back whenever the money gets tight.
King Charles is conceding here that Prince William is right about the fact that the Sussexes simply can never return to the United Kingdom in any form, can never have any royal role again. Their home, the place that they wanted to keep as some sort of base in the United Kingdom paid for by us, is going to go back to being multiple cottages because simply it is not fit for them to return.
Even the Invictus games are starting to feel the toxic Sussex effect. Massive corporate sponsors like Boeing are quietly walking away. The Australian government pulled a $9 million commitment without any warning.
But yes, I think the messaging here is quite clear. There is no place for them within the royal household, within the royal entourage, no matter how much they try to portray themselves as pseudo-royals.
This isn't a run of bad luck. This is the global establishment finally realizing that Prince William was right. The Sussex brand is toxic, and the only way to deal with a contagion is to cut it off completely.
His father might be a little bit softer. There's a whole load of reasons for that. But William is absolutely categorical that Harry and Meghan just have to be banished. You know, they have to live in exile. And William's going to be furious if the government and this Ravec committee give him the security protection back, because that means Harry can swan in and swan out whenever he wants.
They aren't flat broke yet. Harry still has tens of millions in the bank from his memoir and inheritance. But the pattern is undeniable. Every single door they try to open is being quietly locked from the inside. The palace never actually slammed the door. That's the brilliance of the Windsor strategy. They just let Harry and Meghan walk out and then quietly took their names off the guest list.
We've seen how mediocre and miserable their trip was to Australia in terms of raising money. We saw the huge embarrassment for Meghan when she went to see the very sensible Swiss in Geneva, and she had enough people there to fill a British phone box. Nobody is interested in them any longer.
That was terrible. 10 people showed up. Well, 10 fans showed up. There were like a few journalists and...
Which brings us right back to the bulldozers at Frogmore Cottage. You do not carve a house into flats if you intend to welcome the tenants back. It is a permanent, structural message. Stay in California.
I've never seen somebody try so hard to prove that they're not the most unpopular person in the world.
Someone who fled England because she needed her privacy.
Yeah.
Never let us forget that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, it's absolutely astonishing. And then, of course, the publication of all her very top secret wedding photographs.
Oh, yeah.
To mark the 8th anniversary. That as well, absolutely another invasion of her privacy. I mean, she is literally digging and digging and digging, looking for something to get attention, and probably can't understand why there isn't a huge wave of adoration for her. She's actually puzzled why people don't love her, and that makes it even more interesting.
Tom Bower laid it out in the most chilling sentence of his entire career. He said the monarchy actually depends on asterisk, obliterating the Sussexes from public life.
This story is actually more significant than it may seem, because it is the royal family quite clearly drawing a line. It's making it clear, is it not, Rafe, that we simply do not want them, but also that the royal family simply do not want them. Because, of course, if Operation Thor was real, the obvious place for Harry and Meghan to return would have been Frogmore Cottage. And despite spending all of that money, Rafe, it's literally about to be bulldozed. At least the renovations will be, because it's going to be turned back into, I believe, multiple flats for effectively senior members of the household, which is what it was before Harry and Meghan left.
They aren't a threat anymore. They are just a faded, desperate embarrassment trying to sell jam while the real royal family ignores them. King Charles doesn't need to strip their titles. He just needs to let them slowly fade into total irrelevance.
She made some very, very poor strategic errors, thinking she could profit from the title without any consequence, without paying the dues. And of course, in the end, I have no doubt there'll come a day when they both lose their titles, and their children too, because they will just be forced to go too far for their own survival, and at that moment, the same will happen to them as what's happened to Prince Andrew.
The firm isn't just tidying up a cottage. They are closing a chapter forever. What do you think? Should King Charles strip the titles immediately, or is this slow, painful erasure the ultimate revenge? Drop your verdict in the comments. Hit subscribe for more monarchy math, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.